Okay. Israel, Most High Christ bless your body.
Most High Christ bless you too.
All right, all praises. Sounds like we're in the spirit. All right, so more of Nicanor. Let's go to First Maccabees, chapter 3. And we'll start at verse 1. First Maccabees, chapter 3. And verse 1. So it says, and his son Judas called Maccabeus rose up in his stead. So this is after Mattathias, the father of the Maccabeus family, had begun to exhort his sons on what they should do and how they should do it and how they should fight the battle and the fight for Israel, because he saw of the necessity. All right. Whenever we see a necessity, Israel, that's what we're supposed to do. Rise to the occasion. All right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 9. So we should do this thing in our lifetime too. I know that's how I see it and how I see it now. I saw it then. Once I learned this truth, once I heard it, it's like, okay, it's time to do something about it. All right. So it's 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 16. Read that.
For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of.
All right, there's nothing to glory of. So we, as far as us looking popularity, for us to look to be made famous, it's not time. It's not that time. Trust and believe it's going to become a point of time, mainly in our resurrection, that we're going to have that type of status. But truth is, well, in addition to that, when you somebody that keep the commandments and you endure having a good name, throughout your life, what's going to happen? You're going to have a good name. Remember, Christ said, whosoever shall do and teach men so shall be called great. Right? You're going to be called great. You doing and you teaching, you're going to have a good name. But that's not the glory, power seeking, or seeking to be seen, or you have to be noticed. There are some people out here in this world to where they have to be noticed. You like, hey, see me, just like somebody always photobombing or something like that. There are people that their life is a photobomb. It's like they have to have attention. We can't be like that. Because when we come into this truth, we take the back seat for the next brother, the back seat for the next sister. And that, that's a spirit of charity. Well, let me be long suffering with this person. And that's something that has got to grow in you, because you can hear it 1,000 times, but that's not going to make you have that spirit to do it, especially when you're dealing with people that are bent on being simple. And what I mean by simple, this person easy break the commandments. This person easy do something foolish. You're like, what? Why are you doing this? I've been trying to figure it out for years. And out of all this time, I'm done trying to figure you out. You just wired like that. Your spirit is like that. You're deprived. A lot of people are just deprived. The Most High He give the people what He wants them to have. So we're fighting a fixed fight. Every swing, every punch is calculated. Your heartbeat, the most I know is how many times your heartbeat is going to beat. Your heartbeat is numbered, like the hairs on your head is numbered. It's projected by the Father what your life, what your end shall be. Now, by you not really knowing that, you should have hope for yourself to say, I hope I'm not reprobate. Reprobate is a mindset that's void. It's like, I can't do the right thing. Why I can't get right? If you constantly doing the wrong thing, you should be fighting against that. You should be battling against that, trying to make sure, like, let me do the right thing. You should be policing yourself. Yeah. You should be policing yourself, trying to prove that you got it. So instead of glory, you should be trying to prove that, guess what? I'm somebody that's meant to make it, because the people that's in this truth and they enduring to the end, they're gonna be rewarded like you, because you just cannot believe that you're gonna fall into such luck, into not luck, but into such blessings. You ain't gonna believe it. You're gonna never have to worry for nothing in the world, and it's gonna be here on this earth. So this ain't no crack dream that we're telling you. All right. So I have nothing to glory. So I'm preaching in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 16. Go ahead.
For necessity is laid upon me.
For necessity. Preaching is a necessity. All the greats knew that. Everybody that's got a good name understand that. Because they get it. Because they take it. They say, you know what? I'm wired for this truth. I am meant for this truth. I have to fix this problem. It's a problem amongst somebody that look like me, and let me fix it. And what is this? A rec center is not it. I'm sorry, because they're gonna fight after that. They still gonna fornicate after that. We have to fix behavior. So fixing behavior consists of talking to somebody, hoping that you get through to them, and also being an example to that person. Being an example to that person. Necessity. Necessity. You got to feel like this is a necessity. Like in our houses, toilet paper is a necessity. That's a necessity. For real, that's a necessity. Running water is a necessity. It's wintertime. Heat is a necessity. So you got to look at life even more. To me, it's like the world is flashing red. But people, it's like they get colorblind. Like, yo, I'm not seeing these warnings. I'm not seeing these warnings. I'm not seeing these flashing signs. But we got to see it. So we have to say, like, this is a necessity that I be, first and foremost, the best person that I can be, so that I can be good for the Lord's use. And then I can be help the necessity that I see. Let me contribute. Let me jump in there. Let me dig in there. Let me do what needs to be done. You understand? So he said, I preach this gospel because necessity is put on me. That's how the brothers, when we back to First Maccabees 3, all them brothers stepped up. That's a family, not some of them. Oh, well, y'all go ahead and do that. I'm finna go chase this girls. I'm finna go get some hoes. It was hoes then. Yeah, it was. So all of you out there that just want to chase some hoes, y'all weak. Get out the way. So some real brews can step up and put this work in. And y'all gonna die with the hoes. So just go ahead, do what you gotta do, because the Most High is gonna pick some brothers who feel the necessity. And all you sisters, if you want to be harlots, go right ahead, do you, but you're gonna be destroyed in your sin. And the Most High is gonna pick some other sisters, and you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna shine. They're gonna be so royalty, you're gonna throw your guts up. You're gonna throw your stomach up because you made the wrong choice. So don't do that. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you not to do it. But some of our people, they so hard-headed that they do it regardless of no matter what you say. Some lie, some steal, some kill. That's hate. You know, you do a bunch of stuff. But we have to feel the pain that our other brothers and sisters are going through, and we have to say, let me put this on me, and let me teach them. But like I said, before we move on, it starts with that character that you see in the mirror called me. That's where it starts. Because if you can't get me together, you can't get you together. And we be quick to be like, you this and you that and you this and you that. If you can't deal with me, you can't deal with you. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel.
Do we feel like that?
Yes.
Woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. If I don't do this thing, do we not really realize that there's a consequence and repercussion from not doing it? What's the consequence and repercussion? Judgment, lake of fire. Why won't you preach this gospel? Because you feel guilty. It convicts you. It cuts you like, nah, I don't even want to hear that. I don't even want to hear that. A lot of people run from these classes because what's being said. I lose weight all the time. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I weigh 5,000 pounds sometimes. And every couple of days I lose a pound. Give you an example. I'm going to sum this one up. Someone laughed at the post of putting out there, hey, if somebody really want to help you, want to change a life, inbox me, let me know. Ha, ha, ha. So, I tell y'all who it was. What's that one chick that came here?
Shannon.
Yeah, what's her name?
It was Shannon?
No, Shauna.
Shannon.
Yeah, Shauna came with Lim.
Oh, Shannon. All right.
It was just a simple question. I said, what amuses you about trying to help somebody? She cussed me out. Yes. A couple of days ago, she cussed me out. Who the F are you? Who the F you think you is? Don't come for me trying to correct me, blah, 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 blah. If you want, you could delete me. It's not a problem. Thumbs up. Delete and block. Delete and block. I don't even know if y'all met her before. So we're at 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and now going into 17. So people that they get corrected. That's why I lose weight, because they get corrected. Yeah. And she was corrected on adultery. Because you commit adultery, that doesn't mean that I will stop correcting you. You know, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop correcting you. I'm going to teach this book until the day I die, God willing. So, but she was promiscuous and, wandered off and stuff like that. And her sins, people's sins be accusing them. I'm only saying her name because, there are people in the Bible, their names was quoted. Okay. What's the couple name? Ananias and Sapphira. Those are people's names. They lied and they dropped dead. So they wasn't say this brother came up and lied about the price of a property and his wife privy to it. It said Ananias and his wife. You understand? Those names. Horan Dathan, those are names. A Chan, that's a name. Those are people's names. But if against my will, so this is the end of 17, 1 Corinthians 9:17, a dispensation. No. I'm sorry. 16. For necessity is laid upon me, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. Do we ever? And before you can preach, you got to live it. So if you don't get to the point to where you preaching, do you ever feel like woe is unto you? I bet a lot of you don't. A lot of you just be like, I'm going to stay in my square and I'm going to do me. Okay. You know what that indicates? It indicates self-righteousness. It indicates no one can come in and correct you like I got cussed out. So I dare you, how the F you going to come and correct me? I say what the F I want to say. Oh, please. Boom. You can say that. Not to me, though. So the scriptures say, obey them that have the rule over you and submit yourselves that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Now it's unprofitable. It's unprofitable because when you make somebody do something with grief, they don't want to do it. They stop doing it. And if they stop doing it, your correction stops. If your correction stops where the Most High said that you have to do a chastening whereof all the partakers, leave them be, brother, you're missing it. And being a distraction. Where all are partakers that chasten, then are you what? Bastards. So hey, everybody has got to go through correction. When you read Proverbs 6:25, 6:23, it says, for the commandment is a lamp and the law is light, and reproof of instruction is the way of life. Reproof of instruction is the way of life. This is the way. Your whole life, you're going to be getting reproved. You're going to be getting instructed. That's the way of life. Reproof of, especially if you somebody that keeps giving place to your own mind. The Lord said, whosoever trusts in his heart is a fool. If you keep listening to your own mind, you're going to live a life of correction. How do you make correction diminish? Stop trusting in your own heart, especially when you know what this book says, when you know what this Bible says. That's why you have to be challenging yourself to do the right thing. You're supposed to know yourself. The Bible says, know ye not yourselves? Examine yourself. Do you, brothers and sisters, examine yourself whether you are in the faith? Do you compare what you're doing and what you say according to the Bible? The Bible says that I'm to do this. Or are you comparing yourself? Or are you slick? Trying to climb and find another way. That is the person that is going to get woe. I'm just telling you. So 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 18. Go ahead.
17.
Verse 17. Yeah.
For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward.
For if you do it willingly, meaning I enjoy doing it. I don't have an issue. I don't have a problem doing it. It says I have what? A reward. Brothers and sisters, if you want a reward, guess what you got to do? You got to be willing and ready to come out these scriptures willingly. I don't have a problem coming out the scriptures. When I say I, it's evident me. I'm saying you. You supposed to be like, I don't have a problem come out the scriptures. If you don't have a problem come out the scriptures, now first and foremost, you have got to make sure that you don't have a problem applying it, because you cannot be a hypocrite, somebody that says that word, but then you do that thing. The thing that you say don't do, can't be like that. That is a hypocrite. So now if you get a chance, if you get your life to a point to where you doing it and you willingly doing it, that means you have weathered a big storm, and that's a good thing. All right. Next.
But if against my will.
Now, if you don't like doing it, so if I asked you how many brothers and sisters in here that don't like preaching the gospel, would anybody raise their hand? How many brothers and sisters in here do not like talking about the scriptures? Because that's against your will. See? You like it. You don't have an issue. You don't have a problem with it. But if you get to the point to where you have a problem with the scriptures, go ahead.
A dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me.
That means a release. Mm-hmm. Did y'all know that? That means a release. Say, for instance, the Most High said, bam, Nathan don't really like this truth. And the Most High is going to peep that. And when he peeps that Nathan doesn't like this truth, what's going to happen? Nathan is going to begin to do what Nathan wants to do. Regardless of rebuke, instruction, correction, warnings, threatenings. We be threatening brothers and sisters. Threatening, bro, you gonna get death. Death, brother, you gonna get death. Ain't nobody go kill me. You ain't gonna do nothing. So the Lord said, guess what? Okay, it's time to go. So now the Spirit of the Most High leaves. And when the Spirit of the Most High leaves, all this stuff, this is how Judas and his brothers was. And this is how the Most High, our Father, wants you to raise your family. So everybody be on board like this. You just got to give it a shot. You can't be like, oh, they're not going to do it. That's not for you to determine. Everybody grows. A tree ain't always a tree. It starts off as a seed, develops as a little sprout. From a sprout grows into a plant. From a plant, you see that thing getting mature and older, develop into a young tree, a baby tree, then a young tree. It goes. So that's how people are. So you can't be like, oh, well, you know, they're not gonna do it. This, that, and the third. Got to be optimistic. Got to think of it differently. Like, hey, I'm gonna let my patience have a perfect work with this person. But you just got to speak this word. You got to speak it. Like the Father told Moses, the rock, speak unto the rock. Don't smite it. Don't smite it. So our people, we try not to smite one another. We learn to stop smiting one another with words, precepts. I'm going to cut you with debating, with railing and going off on you, disrespecting you, losing faith, discouraging you, killing your spirit, your energy and drive. We got to stop dealing with each other like that. And we have to just simply, through the Spirit and the fruit of the Most High, speak the word and let that do. And you, but when because some of you like to be roughed up, but that's not what it takes, because we're not here to rough you up. We're here to preach to you. We're here to preach. And sometimes those coals will be kindled on your head, because when we're preaching to you, we're going to do it very nicely. But I'm going to tell y'all something. Every brother and sister that's ready to preach this word, be ready to live by it. So when them consequences fall on that person, you don't even got to come back and say, I told you so. I be trying my best to say, I told you so. They always know it. I always let the person come back to me and say, you did tell me. Because I maintain preaching with that person through hell and high water, through thick and thin. I'm still your preacher. I'm still going to continue to come out these scriptures, no matter what you do, because you doing the wrong thing is hurting you. It ain't supposed to hurt me. I always use my analogy about the mailman coming to the house, and he got and he's delivering your mail, and he's got to be like, here, you got this electric bill. You're gonna be like, give me my bill. Why are you worried about? He pissed off. He walking off the porch. You ran the gas bill up. You got disconnection notice. That's how we look. Mad at you because you sinned. So we got to get that together to where, you know, we come back around and just give it to you. But at times we do disappoint one another. I know, I you know, trust, I know, and y'all know. So I can get better at that thing too. So, but if against my will, so if we're doing things and we're doing this truth against our will, the Lord said he'll let us go. He'll just let you go. You don't want to be let go. Okay? What is my reward then? So if you quit and you throw the towel in early, what is your reward? When times get hard, nothing. When times get hard, you're supposed to fight, and I always tell you, you're supposed to reach out and say, help. Help. Reach out for help. But you got to learn to do it early so that you don't cause some form of a habit or addiction to yourself. You become a habitual person that's doing whatever thing it is you're doing. All right. So now let's go back. First Maccabees to the Apocrypha. First Maccabees chapter 3. In verse 1. So then his son Judas, so I was saying that this is Mattathias, and his sons rose up, called Maccabees, rose up in his stead. So obviously, Judas Maccabees, that's how Mattathias was. Because remember, Mattathias, he flew to that guy and slew him on the altar that was trying to make the sacrifice. So Judas took his place. All right. And all his brethren helped him. So Israel, what is that one precept telling us? I just told you. Yariel. What is that one and all his brethren helped him. What is that telling us, referring to us? Anava. Yoshi. Obadiah. Abunium. How all of y'all mention it? How many sisters know it? Raise your hand. Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
They did well.
All his brethren helped him. In relation to us, what is that? How can we correlate that with us today? No. Remember your family. You should be trying to get everybody, those you, I said it, you got, this is a family. You should be trying to get your whole family in, trying to help. And you should not think of them no type of way like, oh, this person, they ain't gonna do it, so on and so forth. Remember? Okay. I know I said a lot, but I kind of emphasized all his brethren helped him. This ain't talking about worldly brothers. These are talking about his siblings helped him. This is a family affair. So you brothers, those of you that have families, you need to be trying to make sure your family stay tight. Do y'all understand?
Yes, sir.
That they help. So those y'all sisters out there that are fruitful, sisters, you have children, make sure your children grow up tight and that they all stay on one accord in the scriptures. And that they understand that they have to be there for one another, with one another, to help one another. And not this person just, they going about their business, that person going on about their business. No. In order for that to happen, we have to endure the troubles of educating our children. So you have to educate your children. You have to teach them. You have to be patient with them. Your glory days are over. You're a parent now. Now it's time to raise the children. You got parents still acting like children, trying to step out in the street, run the streets, this is that and the third, trying to dress like a child. Are you 100 years old? You got a baseball uniform on. What is this? Dude. I had a man tell me, across the street from my mom, and I don't know. He told me to grow up. I must have been maybe, I don't know how I was read. He said something about dressing. I guess he wanted to see me evolve from, we used to call one another tennis shoe pimps. You remember that, don't you, sis? Yeah, anybody else know that term, a tennis shoe pimp? Oh, that's what a bunch of y'all is, tennis shoe pimps, to think about it. Y'all love you, yes, y'all. In other words, you love those sneakers. You love tennis shoes. What old man did, he bust me up out of that. Yeah, he told me to dress like a man. And I was young. Made me change my whole attire. And I started dressing. Linen suits, hard-toed shoes, all kind of stuff. I had to up it. He stayed right across the street from me. Now, my mom being a single mother, And he had a wife and kids, and he was the older guy that stayed across the street. He stayed clean, drove a Lincoln Continental, washed all the time. When they called me to him, he said, "Why are you dressed like that?" I said, "Grow up and dress like a man. Get some stuff with some collars on it and all kind of stuff." And that stuck with me. At that time, I did that. Exactly what he said. All right. So when y'all have families, most of you don't have children, but when you do and you grow up and or get a little older and you begin to have children, then you got to focus on the children. You have to focus on them. And you have to teach them. A lot of times children get left behind. They watch you, they watch your adult life, and you leave them to themselves. And the TV or television is the babysitter. But by us being commandment keepers, we have to oversee what they're doing and stuff like that and keep them on the same page. They'll war against each other. My children antagonize each other the whole time. My Yana Samaria fall in the backseat the whole ride over, even though we told them to stop. They continue to tease each other regardless, but you got to make sure that they stay together. Somebody touched Maury, Yana slammed 2 people. They were suspended for 10 days. You got to make sure that they roll together. This is a true story. And this was 3 weeks ago. She got 99 problems, but back up when Yana with her ain't one of them. So this is what I see. And this sticks out to me. The only way for us to focus on family is for us to accept when we start bearing children, whoo, now we got to focus on our children. And whatever life, world, or ripping and running the streets that you thought you had, that's over. That's over. You're going to be able to do you some stuff, but it ain't going to be like it was. It ain't going to be like you was when you were single. And those of you that are unmarried, that lifestyle of being single is over once you get married. Life totally changes. You don't come and go as you want to come and go. You have a responsibility. So don't want to get stuck too far now. So it's 1 Maccabees 3 and 2. And so did all they that held with his father. So now this is the rest of the people. They helped Judas. So now listen, everybody see that? This is the rest of the people. And so did all they. So this is everybody else. This is the world. Okay? Of righteousness, the ones that were righteous, that held with his father. So those people that followed his father, they followed his son. Okay? We could go into Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, which we won't, but this is good to where, remember how it spoke about the father and the son and how he was proud and why he was alive. And he had pleasure in his son in front of his friends. It ain't no better joy than that. Shalom, brother. That's a joyous occasion. And that's what you brothers, that's what the Most High wants you to seek to do. That's why you got to make a good choice, not a bonehead decision. Thinking through lust and emotion and all of that. The girl out there blind, can't see nothing in scriptures. You sneaking on the phone, trying to talk to her. No, man. You don't do nothing like that, brother. You're going to have a bad seed. It's going to be trick-or-treating and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So it says, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So he got his people great honor and put on a breastplate as a giant and girt his warlike harness about him and made battles, protecting the host with his sword. So this is Judas. We all want to be like this through the Spirit of Christ. All right. Loving our people, man. In his acts, he was like a lion. I was saying, man, some lions are more ferocious than others. Some are just huge and they attack and be swinging a big old mane. Raw. Some like that, Judas. Not just the one that you just see walking around like, ooh, if I go near him, he'll probably this. No, the ones that show you, I will eat you alive. That was him. That's how Judas was. Judas was hard. He was a war fighter. Listen to what I'm saying. He was a war fighter that had skills. He fought for Israel, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. He was the leader. He was a captain. He was number one. Do you understand? And he had the power of the Most High in Christ backing him up. So now you tell me, what type of soldier was he? He wasn't no weakling. He wasn't soft. He was dense, very hard, like an adamant stone, man. And all the movies that they make about war fighters and stuff like that can't compare to this. Like we look at Bourne Supremacy and we see those fighters, Jason Bourne, and how he was cold and how he was hard and how he would take punches and how he was whooped behind. Got nothing on one of your forefathers, Judas Iscariot. I mean, Judas Maccabees. Judas Iscariot. Judas Maccabeus. Got nothing on him. All right. And like a lion's whelp roaring for his prey. So he was a charger. That's what a lion does. A lion would charge. Right, or the gladiator. Verse 5, for he pursued the wicked and sought them out. So he went looking, he was a hunter, and burned up those that vexed his people. Because during this time, hey, he had them trying to take over, take possession, live into the land, and all of that. He wasn't going for that. He burned them up. When you burn somebody up, you set them on fire. So was he just an ordinary guy? Hiding behind a bow and arrow. The front line is up here and he's back here. But like you show Esau, the warriors, they be on horses and everybody else go out and fight. No. Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 6. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him. That means they got little. They began to die off and they began to pack up and leave for fear of him. Because he like, I'm going to cut you in half or I'm going to burn you to death. Which one? When I catch you, it's on for you. And all the workers of iniquity were troubled. That's Israel now. So if you consented with the heathen, he's like, I'm destroying you. When I catch you, it's on for you too. That's how Judas Iscariot. That's how Judas Maccabeus. That's how they felt about him. When I catch you, it's on for you. Because salvation prospered in his hand. What is salvation? Being delivered out of the hand of those that oppress you. That's salvation right there. Being delivered out of those that oppress you. All right. So now let's go to Luke chapter 1 to show you this thing is going to happen again for us. Luke chapter 1 and verse 70. It says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved, meaning we should receive salvation from our enemies. Not that we should always live with our enemies. No, we should be saved and delivered from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. You understand? So these people that have captured us, we are prisoners of war. We are the descendants of people that was prisoners of war. We was not slaves. They enslaved us. They enslaved our foreparents and brought them into this country, and now they had offsprings and seeds. All right? They had offsprings and seeds, which happened to be us. All right? Read that again for me.
The book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 7. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies.
That we should be saved. Now, go to Jeremiah. We should receive a salvation. Go to Jeremiah chapter 23. And verse 5. Read that.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper.
So that's Christ. Read.
And shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
Go ahead.
In his days, Judah shall be saved.
Receive a salvation. Go ahead.
And Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness.
Go ahead.
Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right, because we boast on that. Oh, the Most High, he did this. He played the Egyptians. He destroyed the Egyptians with all these plagues. He said that ain't going to be said no more. But you know what? Read the next part.
But the Lord liveth.
So it's going to be said that the Most High lives. Go ahead.
Which brought up and which led the seed.
Which led the seed. Because you are descendant. You are the seed. Read.
Of the house of Israel.
Of the house of Israel. So that all those families that came over here, they had seeds. And we're their seeds. Read.
Out of the north country.
Out of the north country. Go ahead.
And from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
All right. So we get that? Mm-hmm. Right. So now let's go back. That's going to happen. So something else that I want you to get out of Jeremiah 23. Remember, the first Egypt is talked about right now today. And that happened, man. Let's say that happened 5,000 years ago. Give or take 5,000 years ago. But the Lord said that's not going to be spoken of no more. He said what is going to be spoken of is what? How he led the seed of the house of Israel from North Country and from all the places where he had driven them, right? He said that's going to be spoken of, right? So that means that the life that you lived, it appears to be that it seems like it's going to be some type of remembrance on what transpired. It seems like the first resurrection, you're going to have some remembrance. Do we kind of get what I'm saying? For it have to be spoken and talked about, there has to be some detail. There has to be some writings on what our life went through. Because guess what? Right now, you are writing by living. You are writing the future story that has to be wrote and documented for generations to talk about how the Most High delivered. This ain't gonna be a hush hush. oh, the Most High delivered this, and now it ain't nothing said, but you just wake up from a deep sleep, resurrection, and I'm in the strong place. I don't remember. I don't know nothing. Let's move forward. What good is that to the Father? He wants you to remember the great thing that he did for you. And it's going to be spoken about. Do we understand what I'm saying? So you got to consider that. What type of life are you living that could be spoken on? Are you a rebel and rebellious and wicked and in sin? Because that's going to be spoken of. Remember, the Bible says that he that do and teach shall be called great in the kingdom. So it's going to be known that this brother was righteous, and this sister was righteous, and this child was righteous, and they kept the commandments, and they did this, and they did that, and they did this, and they did that. It's wrote. I just showed it to you. We need to read it again, because the scripture said the first season, it ain't gonna even be talked about no more. That's all we got to. That's all we have to talk about now, except these little things. But he said this is going to be a great deliverance, because Israel, you've been in this captivity. This is the longest captivity that we've ever been in. This is brutal here. The Most High said he got to speak on this. This has got to be told. So it's going to be wrote and everything. Witnesses and testimonies and everything. Yeah. All right. That's why you want to get yourselves together. So we're back to Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 7. He grieved also many kings and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever. Yeah, we're still talking about Judas Maccabeus. The memory of Judas is blessed forever. It will always be blessed. People will always talk about what this brother did. He stood up and stood out because he saw the necessity. Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them and turning away wrath from Israel. How do you turn wrath away from Israel? By teaching the laws, statutes, and the commandments. Because you tell somebody to act right and they do it, okay, then the Most High don't have to punish you. The Most High don't have to come down. So that's what he was doing. He wasn't just going, not saying anything and killing people. He was warning them and telling them to stop and making sure that he instilled the fear of the Most High inside of them. Like, I am going to enforce this. Remember his father, who he grew up under the wing, that when Mattathias slew the guy, he slew him according to the law. So Judas Maccabeus was the same type of person. That everything was according to the laws. He was coming out the commandments and giving Israel warnings on what they should do. And because some was changing and getting their acts together, the wrath of the Most High was being turned away from those people. So at verse 9, so that he was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth. Everybody heard of this brother. Word was going out. You know, you had snitches. Word was going out. The nations was even talking about him. Just like they do investigations now, and they be on our videos and looking and watching and hearing what's going on and tapping your phone and all on the internet, spying and stuff like that. Tell y'all a true story. It might be in 10 years now. He should play long video games. And I had an online partner that I would play video games with. White boy named Finney. Now, Finney was good. Pay attention to this. I'm telling you, this is got to be about 10 years ago. So one day we're up late playing. I mean, to go high rounds, you you know, that was like the thing to go. We were playing zombies and all of that stuff. So you had to last because it was like the boards would get harder and harder. So we was in the 50s. So we had to be playing probably more than 8-9 hours. And he was down and he was waiting for me to finish this round so that I could bring him back to life. Don't be a distraction. It's okay. He was waiting for me to bring him back to life. And like I said, when I said the round was hard, it was like really, really hard to kill all these things. You know, the guns wasn't killing them, ammunition running out, and I'm running all over the board, steady trying to do stuff to get more ammo to kill them. And you know what the game said? I'm gonna get you, nigga. Did I ever tell y'all that a long time ago? It said I promise you. Now, never met this white boy before, but I played with him every other day or whatever. We both, I was like, did you? He's like, Sham. I said, did you? He said, I heard. I said, did he laughed. He said, I heard it. The game said, I'm gonna get you, nigga. The game said that. Now we're at least 8, 9, 10 hours in this game. Without it, so it's like survival without you dying and ending. I mean, we were really good at this game, so and the game said it because to last that long, the game is trying to beat you, it's trying to kill you. So the reason why I said that is because these people they watch all the time. I was watching something today, Narco on Netflix. At least the second season. So I finished that, you know. And then it started to play the first season. And because I was tired and didn't want to move, the first little episode of something came on and they was talking about, I think back in the 80s. And this is how they said today, if you got any type of cell phone or computer, anything with internet, you best believe that they can listen to you. So these were, let me see, who were these? Okay, these were like the CIA or DEA or talking. And he said, but back then, back in the 80s, this is what we had to do. He said that they had to have a satellite phone, and then they would fly a drone over and hope to hear the conversation or get a ping off the sat phone from the satellite, and then they would drive around in vans trying to pick up where the sat phone was. But he said, but today it's much easier. Anything with the internet, they could just come right in and you don't know it. And that's why you always have to assume that they're listening. Okay. Everything has what they call a God mode. And a God mode is it's over everything without interference. Yeah, it's over everything. They can just come right in. Like they could pop and sit in the classes and you not even know that they're there. How do you think that, like if I get the plan, like if I'm like a lot of times I used to try and play different skits to incorporate what do you call it? A point. They're trying to bring out a point. And they're like, no, you can't do that. They will stop the video. Well, how can you stop a video that you're not watching? So remember, I was doing like maybe something on the war on drugs and stuff like that. And I was showing us where drugs come from and things like that. You know, how it come from overseas and how it was created in the jungle and how it's and all of that and how it lands all the way up into California and Miami and New York and stuff like that. they stopped the video. How you gonna stop the video? Only you got to be watching it. Well, I'm seeing everybody as they pop up here. So I didn't see you pop up here. So how did you stop it? Because you got a way of watching and looking, you know. So that's how it is. So the reason why I said all of that is because when we go back to First Maccabees chapter 3 and 9, so Judas was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth. That means everywhere on the planet. How did he get renowned? I said snitches. You got people that will talk and travel, news, word will travel, and all of that. The same way today. People, they know what's going on with you. So a lot of times you might be watching television and you see them driving down the street and they throw the phone out the window. You ever been watching a show or something and they're wondering, well, how did they get tracked? And then they have to find out, oh, you got a phone. You've been holding the phone all of this time. They're like, man, you've been messing us up. They're tracking you through the phone, right? So they have to get rid of the phone. So he received unto him such as were ready to what? Perish. So everybody that wasn't afraid, that's who was with Judas. Then Apollonius gathered the Gentiles together and a great host out of Samaria to fight against Israel. Which thing, when Judas perceived, he went forth to meet him, and so he smote him and slew him. Many also fell down slain, but the rest fled. Wherefore Judas took their spoils, and Apollonius' sword also, and therewith he fought all his life long. So he took the man's sword and fought. Now when Saran, a prince of the army of Syria, heard say that Judas had gathered unto him a multitude, so now here they're going by what? Syria. Instead of the Romans or the Greeks, they all Edomites though. Okay? So these are Edomites. So he heard that Judas gathered him a multitude and company of favor to go out to him with him to war. He said, I will give me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them that are with him, who despise the king's commandment. So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him and to be avenged of the children of Israel. Because it doesn't matter what they calling themselves, they still are the Greeks. All right. Just going up under different titles so that they can separate themselves like, oh, we believe in this and they believe in that. It's like you got the Democratic Party, you got the Republican Party. Okay, so that's the same thing. They just divide themselves under different lands, but they still eat them. All right.
That Syrian guy?
Yeah. Verse 16. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And when he came near to the going up of Bethhoron, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company, who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company.
So we understand. So Judas, as a leader, noticed that he was stronger than everybody else, because everybody else was what? They were questionable. They wondered, them being so through, how they gonna fight against all those people? And they were tired, worn out with fasting. But Judas, he didn't let the flesh win. So if we ever in a situation and you being encouraged to continue, it's not game, it's that spirit. Okay? All right, go ahead.
For the victory of the battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and children, and to spoil us.
Right. So he had to remind them what they were doing. So you had to think about your family. Think about yourself. They're going to kill you. So you mean you're going to worry about being tired, faint, food? Can't think about that. Go ahead.
But we fight for our lives.
Stop. We fight for our lives, man. We trying to fight so that they don't kill us. Go ahead.
And our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. Now, as soon as he had left off speaking, he leaped suddenly upon them.
Like cat, he came up. It's like he went straight to it. And belly on E and everything. He went straight to it. He exhorted them and went straight to it. He didn't say, now y'all go out there and do this. Y'all go out there and do that. No, he went himself. Go ahead.
And so Saran and his host was overthrown before him. And they pursued them from the going down of Betharon unto the plain.
Pay attention. Go ahead.
Where were slain about 800 men of them, and the residue fled into the land of the Philistines.
So now, and they had the smaller army. So none of them got killed. Right. That's because the Spirit of the Most High was on them and was with them. Go ahead.
Then began the fear of Judas and his brethren, and an exceeding great dread to fall upon the nations round about them. And so much as his fame came unto the king, and all nations talked of the battles of Judas. Now when King Antiochus heard these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm.
Right. So remember, at that point, that's like all over the world. Yeah, he's coming. He's coming through like locusts. And he's coming through with a gang. Every place that he had power and dominion over, he gathered. Even a very great strong army. Go ahead.
He opened also his treasure and gave his soldiers pay for a year, commanded them to be ready whensoever he should need them. Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed.
Where did he get the money from? From people. Go ahead.
And that the tributes in the country were small.
Right. The people didn't have much to give him. I'm going through this like this for a reason. Go ahead.
Because of the dissension and plague.
Right. Separation, and the Most High got involved with Israel because Israel started following everything. Remember, when you read, go back, hold where you at, and go back to the 43, 1 and 43. Now, I started 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Read verse 43.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
Right, so there was no blessing from them. That's why the tribute was small. If you break in the commandments, the Most High, you're not going to have no blessing. All right, now let's go back to 3, and 29, the latter part, it says, which he had brought upon the land. Go ahead.
And taken away the laws.
Right, and taking away the laws. Right. So, and us, like even right now today, we have hardship and hard times because we have allowed somebody to convince us that the Bible is not us, that we're Gentiles, and you don't have to keep the commandments and the laws, and you can do whatever you want to do, and we running around begging. How the Most High said that this is your enemy. He said, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemy. Do you know how it is to have to go to somebody that hates you and beg and plead and say, can I get some milk for my baby? You got to rely on this man for the one of all things, somebody that hates your guts. We're sitting here begging for this man to acknowledge that he have destroyed the mind, souls, and spirit of our people for hundreds of years. And we're sitting here begging him for reparations. Yo, man, try and repair some damage that was undone. He's like, I cannot do it. And so instead of us turning unto the laws by reading the Bible, they read the Bible, but they won't turn to it. So the laws are done now. So in their mind, the laws are done away with, and they not getting nothing from the Most High. The Lord said the rain from heaven is dried up. And I got a question before we move on. To those of you that will watch this in the future, if you are a Gentile nation, what Gentile nation are you? If you're the Gentiles, what Gentile nation? Because black is a color. Africa is a man's name. Africa ain't even in the Bible. America or American is not a name. What Gentile nation are you? Everybody on this earth has got a nation that they descend from, a tribe and a family. To tell them, as your preacher, what Gentile nation are you? And once he tell him to find that Gentile nation that went into slavery with ships. So, go ahead.
Which had been of old time.
Which had been of old time. Go ahead.
He feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor to have such gifts to give so liberally as he did before. For he had abounded above the kings that were before him. Wherefore, being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia, there to take the tributes of the countries and to gather much money.
Go ahead. So he's going. He went into Persia, which today are East Indians, the one with the dots in their head. He went into there to rob them, to give money to his soldiers to fight us. All right. So he sent Lysias, a nobleman, one of the blood royal, to oversee the affairs of the king from the river Euphrates unto the borders of Egypt, and to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again. Moreover, he delivered unto him half of his forces. So he delivered unto Lysias. Remember all these different names. Lysias, he delivered him half his forces and the elephants. Now he's got elephants fighting him. The elephants would run through and trample over people. They would go wild. And they had the tusk and everything. So they would use them to spear you and everything. They trained elephants to fight. Okay? And gave him charge of all things that he would have done, as also concerning them that dwelt in Judah and Jerusalem. To wit, meaning this is when it says to wit, everything afterwards is what they want done. That he should send an army against them to destroy and root out the strength of Israel, and the remnant of Jerusalem, and to take away their memorial from that place, and that he should place strangers in their quarters and divide their land by lot. So the strangers would come in and say, this is my property, and this is my property, and this is my property, lot by lot by lot by lot by lot by lot. Just kill everybody. Wipe them all out and take their stuff. So when you read Psalm chapter 83, that's what they were prophesying, that this is speaking through the Spirit. That's what Esau would be trying to do, to make your name no more. He hate you that much because God chose you and not him. That's why they hate you. And that spirit of hate ain't going nowhere. It doesn't matter. Even if you try and love him, he's still going to hate you. So those of our people that's trying to love this man, you can go ahead. He's going to kill you. He has a hate that's never going nowhere. The best thing you can do is stay away from this guy. You can't help what time frame you grew up in. I understand that. As a matter, I mean, you ask me, you know, either you in Jerusalem, which had it hard and doing sometimes, or you here now. This ain't this, you know, for us to do this work, this ain't a bad shape, because it's been worse. You could have grew up 1710, 1720. Eek. You be dodging the whip. Yeah. It'd be tough. Yeah, you think you hate working? You be working for free, buddy. You won't get no perks. You ain't no good dinners. All them pictures and food and stuff we be posting, you ain't eating like that. You eating out of a pot that boy and walk past and spit in. Y'all won't eat that. Niggers. You trying to get uppity? Don't look me in the face.
I was just thinking about this because church treated me, giving me a little hell. So I was like thinking about the whips and stuff. Like, God, I didn't have as bad as them. I know I can do this. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, brother. Don't walk off your job. Shit. And I be telling brothers and sisters all the time, they catch a little HELL at work. Do not let them play you out your job. You think, right? It's gas money. That job is gas money. You got to learn to ignore. Learn to ignore. You know, I came up in the Carpenters Union, and there is a small amount of black journeyman carpenters that journey out. It's like they make it so that you can't make it. You gotta like really take the BS from them. This is the games they do. They use you. They make money off you as an apprentice. And the smarter you are and the harder you are, harder you work. That's even good, because the companies, whoever's trying, like say for instance, they're trying to build a hospital. So I've worked on houses, banks, schools, hotels from the ground up. So I know what I'm talking about. What they do is they charge for journeyman labor and a foreman, and they'll fill those slots with apprentices. So that's how the company is making money. We understand that, right? A journeyman is somebody that's going to school learning. I mean, apprentice. A journeyman is out of school. He should be a good tradesman. He's skilled. He knows this and the third. So this is really about hardship and not get tricked, what I'm saying. So as far as us, they really don't, once you get past, it's like 9 terms, 10 terms. Once you get an upperclassman and you get ready to journey out, they play this little thing with you like, oh, we don't have any work. They lay you out. because they don't want to pay you that money. They would just give it to a red journeyman than to give it to you. You that are making 30 some bucks an hour. You know, a union carpenter, commercial, it's like, I don't know what the scale is now. I've been out for a minute.
It's okay.
You know, when I left, it was like 32, 33.
It's 38 or something like that.
Damn, I might go back. 30, 38.
Yeah, I got it on my phone.
Okay, so it's up there. Oh, that's a, you know, I was, you know, bringing home $1,000 a week. But trust, you know, you're like, oh, $1,000 a week? Yeah, $1,000 a week. They make you work for it. It's not free. Because I would leave feeling like all this stuff that we done and what they finna make here, you owe me big time money. Well, I felt we should be really getting paid. They work you like that. For real. I mean, you got to be like hitting on cylinders. You got to be cold. You got to be bad to the bone. You got to get in there and get it. It ain't no shucking and jiving on the phone and dragging your feet. You have to be a freaking builder. You know. So anyway, a lot of us do not make it and journey out to where you are a journeyman and they still hire you. I was fortunate enough to work it through and have that type of success. So what's the why? But a lot of brothers, So when they treat you bad at work, because this is where I'm going, when they treat you bad at work, don't get mad. Well, you're gonna get mad, but humble yourself. Don't quit. Don't go after them like they came after you. Ignore them because you need that check at the end of the week. Go home, get yourself together, make a call, give me a call. And I'm going to de-escalate you and tell you that that's the nature of the beast, which is the beast, and go back in there, ignoring them, and hopefully that man apologizes to you and you keep it moving. But you have to gain your respect at work by not being childish, not letting them treat you like a child by foolish gesturing, because they'll be in there talking about girls and sex and drunkenness and all kind of stuff. Don't get into that. Go there, do your straight A, work hard, and you know, without making all the mistakes and messing around, and don't be on your phones and stuff like that. Put your work in and come on up out of there, and they'll respect you. If you walk like a man and live like a man and work like a man, they'll respect you. You know, they have always did that to me. Even as an apprentice, I got respect. They will put me over jobs and put me over upperclassmen as an apprentice because I carried myself as a man. I would come in there, don't mess with them, don't want to talk to you, and being in truth, I don't foolish play with you. Just give me something to do, and I'm gonna do it. You know, if you talk crazy, I'm just gonna ignore you. And they could tell that would have me ruffled because I'm really not gonna say nothing now. But I never quit my job. So y'all don't quit y'all's job, man. All right. So let's go back. Where was we at?
337.
337. So he took our land, divided it by lot in 36. So the king took half of the forces that remained and departed into Antioch, his royal city, the 147th year. And having passed the river Euphrates, he went through the high countries. Then Lysias chose Ptolemy. Okay, so now this guy Ptolemy, I did some study. This guy was like what they call a map maker. So a lot of Edomites, you know, he was the type of person that traveled and remembered the way that the rivers and all of that stuff turn, survey of the land and things like that. Okay. I forgot the name of the book that was telling me about this guy, because I remember from the scriptures and I started reading the book. I was like, this is the same guy. All right. So Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son of Duramenes, something like that, and Nicanor. So this is the demon here that really gave us a problem, Nicanor. And Georgius, mighty men of the king's friends. And with them, he sent 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen. So you know how that looked? That's a sea of people. 40,000 and then 7,000 on horses to go into the land of Judah and to destroy it. So they wanted to make sure that, okay, when y'all come up out of there, everybody dead. That's almost 50,000 people into one little city. They wasn't playing with us. So they went forth with all their power and came and pitched at Emmaus in the plain country. So plain country is like a flat ground. So now you just imagine almost 50,000 people. That had to be a huge plain. So you're out there with tents, campfires going. And you know, people to war, they're not just going to be out there without food. So they bring food. Some of them, sometimes they travel by boat and they'll bring the animals on the boat. That's how they would get the horses and all of that stuff where they need to go. They bring the animals on the boat, get off at the shore, set up camp, make fires, have cattle, sheep, and all that type of stuff. They bring food with them while they be creating a plan. So now this is a whole campsite, 47,000. They got horses and everything. And these people ain't scared. Verse 41. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them. So now this is Emmaus. So the merchants, these are people with stores and fronts, right? Hearing the fame of them, meaning the 47,000 Greeks, took silver and gold very much with servants and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. So the war, so they betting against us already. They said, man, when y'all do this, that, and the third, we're gonna want sell us this and sell us that. A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. So that's Psalms 83. All of these people against us. Excuse me. Now, when Judas and his brethren saw that miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, like right there at the edge of our land, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them. It's like, hey, they're not just taking us, they killing us. They said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. How you gonna fight 47,000 people? Hey, let's just imagine
100,000.
100,000. Yeah. So just imagine a stadium full of people, like an NFL football stadium. It's wrapped around with all people. And then you got a football field full of people. Which is greater? The stadium full of people. And you like, listen, let's fight for our laws and hey, that's probably like 10-1. That's tough. So you got to be a hell of a small group. Verse 44. Then was the congregation gathered together that they might be ready to battle. Who was ready to fight?
The congregation.
The congregation. Congregation, y'all better get some skills. You better get in shape. Lift a weight. Jog. Do a curl. go to target practice, swing a bat, learn a karate chop. You may never know. See? And that they might pray. So not only did they pray, but they was also helping themselves. Everybody understand this? So you will have to help ourselves. From time to time, we get out and do certain things just so that we could like kind of sharpen up on something, be involved. And ask mercy and compassion. Meaning that's, Lord, help me. Now, Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. So this is giving you a description of the city. So even though it wasn't nothing at this point, because they had so many problems and they couldn't be at peace, because you build something, somebody gonna come tear it down. So it was laid void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out. So people wasn't visiting, coming and going. Why is that? Because of the state of the heathens. The sanctuary also was trodden down. So where was the fellowship and the worship? This is the temple that Solomon built. Where was the services? Weekly Sabbath service and stuff like that. And and aliens kept the stronghold. So you know what the alien is? The alien is a foreign nation, foreigners. They made sure that you wasn't regular trying to do Sabbath and you wasn't this and you wasn't that. They made sure that. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased. So it wasn't no music. So at First Maccabees chapter 3 and now verse 46, read that.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Pasphar over against Jerusalem, for in Pasphar, Masphah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel.
So they came up with a place that, hey, we'll meet up here. Go ahead.
Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes.
Right. So, I mean, during times of mourning and when things ain't right, et cetera, they didn't dress up all snazzy and stuff like that. We seem to do that. Nobody know you mourning or anything. Something bad has happened unto you, or you going through a life crisis. You looking like you ain't going through nothing. But they were fasting, put on sackcloth. So let's imagine what is sackcloth is. Is that the same thing as sack and cloth? You know, is that like a clothes basket?
It's that brown.
Yeah, so yeah. So in other words, I'm saying like, you know how somebody just pulls some out the clothes basket? I'm just gonna put some on. Opposed to let me go up into the closet and I'm all decorated and stuff.
You know that potato sack?
Yeah, I understand.
Oh,
you know, but I don't think that it was a potato sack that they put on.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that this is just, you know, my opinion. You know, a sack, what do you do with a sack? And sometimes you might put dirty clothes in it. You know, the cloth represents the clothes, you know. Something, it's the appearance of it, it ain't like pressed and spiffy and all that. You can tell that something is wrong with people, you know, something is wrong with them. They into mourning. All right, that's just verse 48.
And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So they were covetous, right? So they opened up our laws, the scripts that were found, and the heathen have been painting their pictures in it. And it's the same identical thing happened today. You can open up the Bible and you'd see you know, pink and red colored people. It's nicely said, right? Pink and red colored people. Yeah, let me see that into the Bible. Just like this. Yeah, this is what they saw. Who are these people? These are aliens from another land. These are not the Israelites of the Bible. See that? These are people of another nation. These are aliens. These are not people of the Bible. So in their time, so they're still doing it. So then they open up. These are our laws wrote in here. They opened it up and they said, wait a minute. What is these dudes doing? You got a guy here holding 2 tablets like he's holding the 10 Commandments. What's these guys doing, man? Oh, man. Yeah, these imposters. So, First Maccabees chapter 3 and 49, they bought also the priest's garments and the first fruits and the tithes, and the Nazarites they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. Then cried they with a loud voice towards heaven, saying, what shall we do with these? And whether shall we carry them away? For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profaned. Thy priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us? What did they imagine against us? What was their imagination? What did they want to do, Abang? Who knows what they wanted to do? Okay, now.
They wanted to destroy us off the earth.
Yeah, they wanted to destroy us off the earth completely. All right. Verse 53, read that.
How shall we be able to stand against them, except thou, O God, be our help?
That's right. Why did he feel like that? How many, with that attitude that they had, and then they were already being approached with gold and silver to buy us, and they already we're gonna kill them. What does that last part say? How what? How should we be able to stand against them? How many of it was it? 47,000. Right. 47,000. And last time we checked, did it ever give a number? Didn't it give a number? How many was with Judas?
Oh. It's more.
Maybe just said a small host. Let's see. 17, 3 and 17. Go back to the 17th verse. It says, who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few? Right, so they were few. And this is less than the 47,000 people that they saw. So when I said this being so few to fight against a great multitude, so the great multitude is even more. The 47,000 is even more than the great multitude that they had. Now they're coming with an even bigger, stronger thing to make sure that this thing it gets done. When Judas and them still have that few people, because they wasn't adding into their army from other nations and stuff like Esau was. All right. He went and got the Persians and he got the Syrians. You understand? He got all nations. People from the land of Emmaus. He got a lot of people, man. And we still got that same small company. So they was fasting and like, yo, what we gonna do? All right. So we have First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 54. Go ahead.
Then sounded they with trumpets and cried with a loud voice. And after this, Judas ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands, and over hundreds, and over fifties, and over tens. But as for such as were building houses, but had betrothed wives, or were planting vineyards, or were fearful, those he commanded that they should return, every man to his own house according to the law.
All right. So the captains that he appointed over these people were to exhort them, minister unto them, and see who was after the Most High's heart, to where like you're not afraid to fight, you're not afraid to help, etc. Because in these thousands and hundreds and fifties and tens, those are not soldiers, those are families. It was just this brother is able to deal with 1,000 people or 5,000 people. You understand? His wisdom can rebuke negativity. His wisdom can exhort 1,000 people. You understand? Then you have people that deal with lesser amounts, so on and so forth. All right. But they had a big one that they were dealing with, man. They had to fight the war of the world. That's what they had to fight. This is doomsday that they dealing with. All right. So you can understand. This is doomsday for them. And they resulted to the Most High or bust. The Lord, if you don't help us, we finna be all dead. All right. So we have First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 57. So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of Emmaus. And Judas said, arm yourselves and be violent, men, and see that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations. You see what Antiochus did? He went and got all nations to come and fight against us that are assembled together. Go ahead.
Against us to destroy us.
Against us to destroy us. Now we have to get it. We've been dancing with it and ain't got it. Where do we need to go? Psalms 83, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Go to Psalms 83. All right, Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1. This is what Judas and them is saying. And this is something that was going down throughout Israel. That we have to rely on the Most High, our power, during times of need. Something that I've learned, when the Most High is working and dealing with you, it's easy for you to call upon the Most High. So that's when you should. When a lot of times when the Most High is dealing with you and your afflictions, it might be hard for you to call upon the Most High, trusting in the Most High. Those are times that when you are weak, that's when you need to reach out for help. But all of you able-minded and stable-minded brothers and sisters, you should always be pleading and calling upon the Most High, asking the Father to deliver Israel and help Israel and stuff like that. All right. So Psalms 83 and 1. Go ahead.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Right, because we're dealing with a big one. Keep thou not silence. Go ahead.
Hold not thy peace.
Go ahead.
And be not still.
Right, come, be not still. Because, the Most High will be still. He'll go and return into his place and he will be still and he will let the dominoes fall. Go ahead.
O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Right, you think you have 47 mutes? They mute. They not saying nothing. They're making hella noise. 47,000 people, they woofing. You understand? You know what woofing is, right? Blowing noise. They talking crazy. They making noise. Everything. Yeah. They ready to fight. They is bloodthirsty. You know what they got their mind on? Murder, rape, robbery, spoil. They got their mind on all of that. They just looking for the word. During the time of 70 AD, haven't we read how,
Titus Persuasion.
thank you, how he couldn't control the soldiers for the thirst? Yeah, he couldn't even control them. He wanted them to stop, and they wouldn't stop. And this was the word by Josephus, a brother that was there, that was alive, and given a description of it. All right? So go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden one.
Go ahead.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
All right. So once you kill all the people and you split their land up, sooner or later, nobody's going to know about them. The thing is, the Most High didn't let them kill us and destroy us because we are his inheritance. All right. So now let's go back because we're almost finished. I can finish. You can start the communion. All right. So verse 59, but it's better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary. It is better for us to die in battle than for us to behold the calamities, meaning us to see this stuff. So it's like we're going to die fighting. We're not just going to stand by, let them capture us, and behold the tortures that's going to come with being captured. They said we're going to fight. That's what Judas and them said. Nevertheless, as the will of God is in heaven, so let him do. So in other words, if the Most High is going to help us, he's going to help us. If the Lord is going to destroy us, then he's going to destroy us. But they were hoping that the Most High was not going to destroy them. All right. So we'll stop there and we'll pick it up more on the Sabbath. Any questions? Any questions? All right. What's up, Uzziah? Shalom, huh? Hey. Stop. Come here for a second. Y'all excuse me. Don't go away. All right. Matthew 26. Shalom. Matthew 26 and verse 6. Now, when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? But his ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua, whom the word calls Jesus, understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought to get work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. So all praises to the Most High for giving us to the Spirit to come forth and give Christ some comfort for his burial, and set a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart, which entails, teaches us that when we in sin or when we have sinned and when we repented, that it's okay to humble down and be sorry for our sins. And this is the same sister that Christ had cast out 7 devils out of, and also told her, because of her broken spirit, that her sins were forgiven. And that's one thing that a lot of people be wanting to know, that their sins are forgiven. All right. A lot of brothers and a lot of sisters that's fighting this fight and going through the struggle, yeah, they be wanting to know if their sins are forgiven, man. All right. So this is an example that teaches us when we have a broken and contrite heart, the Most High forgives us for our sins. When we, acknowledge him and we forsake him. Because Christ said, always taught, sin no more. All right. To avoid worse things happening. So now the Lord's Communion, 1 Corinthians 11 and 23. And of those of you, if you don't understand the communion, what it is, the meaning of it, I actually did a class about the communion. The whole class was about the communion. On my page, type in Sham Shawan Israel and then type in communion, and you'll get the lesson of what the communion is about. Also, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube, go to our YouTube, the General Assembly and Church of the Firstborn. Like and subscribe to our videos. All right. Help us build that channel. Also, help support the General Assembly of Israel by simply sharing the page or sharing this video, tagging somebody in it, sharing the video. And also, you brothers and sisters, you're welcome to start watch parties whenever you like with any of these videos, with any of these classes. You can search the name, search my name, a different topic, Sham Shawan Israel Anger, whatever topic, and start a watch party. And you can sit there and listen to class, and maybe some of your own people that you're trying to help out can even jump in and say, hey, he's playing a video. Let's see what's going on. Okay? It does work. It does help. So 1 Corinthians 11 and 23, for I received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that Hamashiach Yahushua, so I'm saying the Messiah, Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner, also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. So in other words, just be sincere. But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. If we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. So the Lord got out in front of that thing and said, hey, to avoid him penalizing you, do something as simple as judging yourself. Because when you stop, that's a judgment within itself. Because stopping makes you sad. Yeah. Would you rather be sad or broken up? I also, Yeah, because broken up, man, you might not never be the same. Break a leg, and you have a pain forever. After it half heals, you got a limp. A lot of different things happen. Okay, so judge yourself, Israel, to avoid the Most High judging you. If you know that you're doing the wrong thing, you better stop, because once you get caught, you're gonna be sorry then. But it's only going to predict you sorry because you got caught. If you're truly sorry, stop now. Judge yourself. Tell whoever you sinning with, no, I can't do that no more. And then run like double hell. Hell. Run like hell. Never contact them again. Because if you do, the Most High is going to judge you. And you're not going to like it. You're going to be thinking that it's not fair. I hear so many people, that ain't fair. I'm like, yes, it is. Because you was warned. And you was told over and over and over until somebody's blue black in the face. Okay? So, Most High in the name of Christ, thank you for the food and drink, amen.
Amen.
This is body which is broken for you. We're going to see them one more time before they judge themselves. We're going to see them one more time before you judge yourself. Nobody? Okay. This is blood. Where we got one? I almost got her. Almost got you. Trying to trick us, Sham. Trying to. Again, just one more before I judge myself. Okay. So that is that's it. Any announcements before we go? Any announcements? I got one. My Yana turned 15 today. Getting on up there. Getting on up there. Yeah. No, all praises. Hey, man. Remember, I was 15. I got a 15-year-old. She's a good 15-year-old. She don't give me too many problems. It's her little sister. It used to be the opposite. All right, so that's it, y'all. Let's go. That fees ain't no joke. Yes.
Am I correct?
Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, that will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The laborer's prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers unto his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest to gather your people Israel, and send counsel behind your laws to stand before thy people Israel. Give to us strength to break down our lies with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel, Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
The Most High name of Christ bless you all.
Everybody want to go paintball. We're trying to go paintball next Sunday. So we want to say that out loud.
You want to do it on the Sabbath?
Sunday.
I say you want to do it on. You want to let them know on the Sabbath? Oh, you can say something now. Just just say something now.
Oh, say something.
Yeah.
Now you just come to have them prepare their cage.
Hey, yeah, say something.
All right, everyone. Yeah. It's cheap. Put it out on the house. But you got
I'm
so
at-
everybody. Yeah, Rick. Alright, your shot, you burn it so far. Alright. Everybody, we trying to go paintball shooting this Sunday at on like a group hire type deal. 2 people get in for 25, all day free play, and give us some fun, what they call it, exercise, activity and exercise, man. You know, if y'all interested, it's all day from like 8, whatever time, nighttime, I guess. We put it out there because it costs, it's cheap. Some we might be able to link up and ride out together, whatever. If y'all interested, let me know.
Keep.
One person $12, 2 people 25. And it's all day free play, free refills on her. You just gotta buy paintballs. They got a deal on paintballs, 5,000 paintballs for like $50.
You say the earth is free, but you
Yeah,
gotta
the free refill.
I thought I'm reading that right now.
5 for 100.
Read that right now.
earn in the gun.
And the gun, yeah, the gun get earned up.
Oh, okay. To shoot the,
Yeah, to shoot.
oh.
No, it's free. Usually you gotta buy it. Just paintball.
So you get, how many paintballs?
That should be 5,000 for 50, because they try to sell you 20 for 5 and 50 for 10. And I was doing that, and I ended up spending like 60, 70. When he was like, "Oh, you should have got the 5,000 for 50."
Okay, Israel Shalom.
Yeah, that makes sense. When the group hire starts, Sunday?
No, I don't expire. Usually when you want to, but we should